Hi, in this video, this is video 27, and I want to show you two websites that are excellent websites for practice. And in fact, I use these websites quite often when I'm making tests to make sure that to find quick things and not have to make them up. So I just peruse through these two sites. If you'll just Google subnetting practice and look down here at these two, you'll find one website called subnettingpractice.com and the other one called Subnetting Dotnet. And on this one, this little bit gets you to the practice part. So I'm just going to open these up. I'm going to press my control key so I can open these in a new tab. There's one new tab and the other new tab. So we'll go up to, first of all, to the subnetting.net and see what that looks like. And you'll see it just gives you sort of a random question. What is the shorthand corresponding to a subnet mask of 255.255.240.0? And so then you need to come up with the shorthand, which in other words, the CIDR notation, right? So if this is 8, 16, and then 4 more would be 20. So that'd be /20. And then I can say show answer. And sure enough, it was /20. Now I can practice this type of question. I usually leave this off and just get different kinds of questions. And just click next and you get another one. And you can just go through these as fast and as far and as many and as long as you want to go through. Try to answer the question. If you get totally stuck, you don't have to put something in there. You can show the answer and it will show you the answer. It even has this little question mark that kind of goes through some ways to accomplish it. But of course you have these videos of mine also, and then you can just go on to the next question. Now I have not set up an account here to log on to view all question types, and you can also, if you want, challenge other people to see how you do. But I would encourage you to just answer as many of these as you can. What's the broadcast address for this network? Now, it doesn't actually give you a network address here, does it? It gives you an IP address. You may have to figure out what the network is, and then figure out what the next network is, and thus figure out what the broadcast address is. So just keep going through these things and see if you can answer them, and go on to the next one. Now, the other one looks like this, and in this one, you sometimes get these nice diagrams. And these can be even more challenging sometimes. You want to create a new access control list. Now we haven't looked at access control lists in this class on your Cisco router, but it gives an access control list, and it says is the wildcard mask of subnet A, this is the wildcard mask of subnet A. It has 65,534 hosts, meaning it's a /16, contains IP address, this and this. For your answer, enter the network address followed by the wildcard mask of subnet A. Now, this one happens to be something that you have not studied in this case. So in this case, if you haven't studied that, you have two options. You can either go on and study what in the world is a wildcard mask, or in this case, you could just say, go on to the next question. And you're likely to get more just regular subnetting questions here. What's the first valid host on the network that this address is part of? And we just did one of those a couple of videos ago. Next. What's the maximum number of valid hosts one would have from this network? And so on. So you just keep hitting next. And now here's one that you might be able to do. Up to how many hosts can be placed in the subnet, which currently reads XX hosts, right here. If this is a subnet, and again, we know that everything off of this is off of one router, right, or one node of a router is one network. So in the case of this, we know that this address, or this subnet mask, will tell us how many hosts we should be able to get on that network, right? And we want to know how many hosts. Well, let's look at that. Let's go back to my chart, to my graph here, and look at it, 28. Well, for hosts, it looks like I can get 14 hosts on there, right? 14 hosts. and I should be able to enter 14. Say submit, and sure enough, the answer is 14. So you get these questions from many different perspectives when you go through these things. So you can just keep hitting next, 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 and get as many of these as you want. I highly encourage you to go through these and practice, practice, practice. If you get to a question that we have not covered, such as the one you saw earlier on something called wildcards, those are relatively rare on these things. Most of these are things that you should be able to do by now based on our studies. So have a good time with these and do practice, 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 practice some more. Don't stop practicing these things until you get them every time. And when you start getting them every time, you know that you're there. All right, I'll stop hammering on you at this point and let you have at it. And we'll see you in the next video. In the next video, we're going to start something new called VLSM that we have not looked at yet. And by the way, you may run across some on these two sites that are something we would are VLSM types of question. And what we mean by that is that you have different subnet masks for different networks, as we saw in one of our questions back here where we had two different subnet masks for two different networks that we were subnetting. That's VLSM. So you might run across those, and if you're not ready, not prepared to do those yet, although in this case we could figure out just fine, but if you're just not prepared for that yet, then go ahead and go on to the next question. All right, I'll let you go here. We'll see you in the VLSM set of videos which follows next.